to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Tuesday, September 27th. I'm Gary Stevens. Fourth Tuesday of the month. This time we take a look inward, I should say, as to how your living conditions are inside. Yes, I know you need to do some cleaning. We all need to do some cleaning. But I'm not talking about getting the Lysol and the borax. Well, I don't know if they make borax anymore. But anyway, the cleaning materials. No, we're talking about a little bit more permanent. How your living area looks and how to spruce it up. And a person that can help us with that is on the other end of our Zoom connection this morning. He is Randy Meppelink from Great Lakes Window Coverings on Holland's North Side. Randy, good morning. Welcome back to Talk of the Town.
Good morning, Gary. It's great to be here. Thanks again for having me. And it's a beautiful, crisp fall morning this morning. It is reminding us that the seasons have decided to change abruptly. That's for sure.
Do you start looking inward as in, and I say you in general, do you start looking inward as try to maybe brighten the interior of your home after perhaps maybe looking for darker hues in the summer to try to keep things a little cooler?
Yeah, and one of the things that I recommend people do now and get this done, in the next three weeks or so, but you want to get all your windows washed on the outside, okay, so that you can let the most light in, because as we step into those dark times and from December through February, where we don't see the sun very often here in West Michigan, it's always you want to do everything you can to help that, and so even at our offices, we just booked EnviroClean to come in and clean all the windows on our building, and just to make sure that we're looking good for the winter months coming.
Let's talk a little bit about cleaning for a moment, and Great Lakes Window Coverings in the Klingman's building on the north side. They don't sell cleaning materials. They sell window treatments and the like. But sometimes after a few years, especially, some of the window treatments, some of the blinds that are sold, they get yellowed because of sun and because of age. Is it a case of can they be cleaned, or is it a case of, planned obsolescence and you need to buy new ones?
Sure. Well, combination of both. So if you were to ask me this back in, and this is just a little bit of fun that I talk about, but, back in the 90s, when we cleaned blinds, we would have a lot of yellow blinds. But back then, it wasn't because of so much as sun fading. There was a lot of people smoking was very popular, right? And it was done in the homes, and we would see the nicotine stains come in, and you can't get those out. We don't see that as much anymore today, but what you do see is sun fading, and that happens especially on if you have a PVC vertical blind. PVC is the stiff kind of a plasticky material, or if you have PVC mini blinds, those could be yellowed and turn yellow. Most of the stuff made today has what we call plasticizers, UV plasticizers, added to the faux wood blinds or the plastic parts, and that's designed to make sure that we can keep the fading or that yellowing away. But when you see the yellowing, that's usually a good sign that's probably time to replace and start with new again.
It brings to a point how sometimes we as a society would like to go back to the good old days, when life was simpler and we didn't have to make so many decisions, and maybe ethics were a little bit different. Follow me on this, Randy.
Sure.
If you want to go back to the good old days, you would have automobiles that have to deal with rust. And you would have to have blinds to deal with yellowing. Hey, science is great for these great advancements. We don't have as much rusting on vehicles, and we don't have as much yellowing on those blinds. A little bit because of us, but a little bit because science marches on.
Exactly. And so does technology. Science on that, on the making of it, but then also some of the things are like, weathering of cords or yellowing of cords. Now that, we're just stepping in, October is Child Safety Month for window coverings. And it's a month of each year we recognize that window coverings need to be made more child safe. And what I mean by that is the industry has made a big effort to eliminate cords by the end of this year, all around. Okay. And cords are going away. So those pull cords that you see on your blinds or shades, you won't see that in the current state, or the chain loops, shade loops. All of that's going to be changing with new technologies coming out. So during the month of October, we have an emphasis on child safety, and then we talk about our cordless products or our motorized products, and then we run specials on those throughout October as well for that. So
it's a little, unfortunately, it does add a little extra cost to it. The proponents would say saving a life or saving injury is worth any cost, but some other people would say, empty nesters, well, we don't have kids around, and we have to watch. We're on limited income, so sometimes you can win one way or can win on another. Randy, you talked about the fact that October is Child Safety Awareness Month, and certainly the industry, as you mentioned, doing its part because, as you mentioned, those blinds with the cords and the chains can be a danger. So you have some specials this month to go along with maybe getting some upgrades to, shall we say, child-proof your windows.
That's right. So, and we do across the broad spectrum of we have specials on our cordless system, which is our system that we manufacture here in Holland. We call it Zero Gravity. It is a cordless roller shade that requires no weight to pull it down or raise and lower it. So if you have, arthritic conditions, maybe where it's difficult to grab something and pull it down, you simply just need to touch it and it goes up on the bottom bar, or just grab onto it with just a slight pressure and pull down. It will stop wherever you stop. It no longer is the old, you remember and I call them my grandma shades, but you remember the shades that you had to pull down and then you let go, and then sometimes they go up to the top and they go up at the top, so that while those are still made, believe it or not, there still is a company that makes wooden rollers out there. The new product that we do is it's all done with springs, and we use tension springs and counterbalancing of a shade. And so, yes, it does cost a little bit more to do that, but the specials that we have on that, along with the fact that we manufacture it here in Holland, is bringing pricing that is the best of the year. Happens in the month of October on those systems, so it's the best time. So to say exactly what that sale is, it's all dependent on size, whether it's we are just in the process. Actually, a new development on it, which is really good, is that it used to be the smallest width we could go was to 26 inches, and we're waiting our arrival of inventory. Should be here by the end of the week, and we'll be able to go down to 12 inches in width now with the cordless system. So that's a big improvement, and that means that pretty much any size shade now that we can do from 12 inches wide all the way to 144 inches wide can be done totally cordless.
Yeah, it's like a few years ago when my first wife and I, the first house we bought was a 2-floor, a brick colonial, and they had casement windows. And that, we're talking about the thin, long, thin windows, which, you don't see a lot of these days now. You do see the wider version. So indeed, the 12 inches would be certainly helpful along those lines. The other thing about the power, the power lifts, for lack of a better term, the blinds that you do electronically. Are we getting to a point now where many of them they go maybe solar power, so they don't have the batteries are such a way you don't have to worry about it's we just went past the equinox for summer and the fall, and we have to change the batteries on our smoke alarms. Do we have to change the batteries on these? No, I think science and technology is advancing in that field too.
It has. You know, when motorization was first around with roller shades, we know that takes us back into the late '80s. Everything was plugged in, or not even plugged in. It was hardwired into your 110-volt power system of a home. And then that graduated in the early '90s to battery powered with AA batteries, and that was what they had at that time. Well, that's evolved to rechargeable lithium ion batteries now. Um, that the same technology that you see in automobiles, okay, in the lithium ion technology, is now on a smaller scale into the roller shades and window shades. And those can either be charged once a year, doing plugging it in like you would your cell phone, okay, or you can plug a solar panel into that, and that solar panel, even in Michigan with our limited light, will trickle charge that battery all the time that there's light. It doesn't need direct sunlight, just needs light. And so it doesn't run off a solar panel, but the solar panel is used to charge the battery that's in there. And we can do, it used to be the largest width was, 80 inches wide, but now we can go with a rechargeable all the way up to 144 inches in width with the solar power. So there's been some great strides in that realm. And then also leaving the battery or the rechargeable, then you go into DC power, which again is nice because you can do DC power in the home. You don't need to have a electrical permit to run the DC wiring. For that, you can do depending on how you're doing it or what you're doing. I got to put a little quote that in quotations, I guess. But the and then after that, you go into the 110 where you can just now plug those motors right into an outlet and have it work via wire free with a radio technology.
And the battery, we're talking about the battery at the source of itself, the actual blind, but also we don't need the remote control anymore. You can do it, as they say, there's an app for that, I suppose.
And there is, and that is very popular. You download the free app on your phone. You can operate your shades. You can do settings where you can have it go up and down with the sunrise and sunset if you want. You can change as many scenes or time. You could have it go up and down 15 times a day, and it doesn't have to go all the way up. It can stop halfway, partway. You can really kind of design that setting for your lifestyle on how you want to be able to look out your windows or not look out your windows.
Randy, we've been talking about blinds and shades, talking about the changing season, and then being October Child Safety Awareness Month, and some specials along the lines for Great Lakes window coverings. But there's something that we sort of overlook a lot when we have a conversation, but it is something that is available through Great Lakes window coverings, and that's drapes. Something that, we talk about blinds and shades, but drapes are just as important too, aren't they?
They are. And, that can be the icing or the frame, the icing on the cake or the frame around a picture, because, there you can find your accent fabrics, whether, it can be anything from side hang panels to operable, where we're actually, having draperies open and close on a window. So there's a lot of different options there, especially, and then we get into the valance world with valances, and whether it could be cornice boards or pleated valances, or there's just so many different choices, so we have we definitely have at the showroom. We have all of those on display, and then we can also utilize the online. We use a online program that we're able to go to with the workrooms that we use, that we can see the different styles and offerings that are offered for that. So that's it's a good point, and they can be. And I don't want to say they're often overlooked. It's just that if you look at a window in a home, a blind or a shade is typically always put on a window. Draperies are kind of that added bonus or benefit or something, and we see that more with, if I say 50 years and older, okay, we see a lot more draperies type thing. Under 50, we see a lot more blinds and shades, and it's kind of a little bit of a decorating choice as well, ebbs and flows of generations. So,
and one thing that sometimes, for one thing, first of all, I'll say, do people on average, and I'll say on average, do people sometimes decide, okay, we're getting into the winters, fall and winter, maybe I'll have different type of blinds, and then maybe something a little bit brighter for the spring and summer? Do you see that a lot or not really?
not so much, because most of the time, once it's on the window, they'd have to find a place to store something like, and especially if it's a 10-foot wide window, all of a sudden there you got to find a place to store it. You do see that a little bit with draperies, where it's a side hang, where they may change out the side hangs based on the season, that type of thing. That does happen, because those can go on a hanger in a closet when not in use.
And the other thing too is the fact that sometimes you want something that will keep the heat in the winter, but block the heat in the summer. And I would assume Great Lakes Window Coverings has those type of draperies as well.
Absolutely. In the lining world, depending on the type of lining that's used, it could be an inner lining, which is a soft, more energy efficient lining. Then there could also be a blackout lining, which keeps the light out. But those are definitely different things that can be added to the drapery to make it energy efficient. Think of a drapery like sitting on your couch. And if you sit on your couch with a blanket on, it's like with a drapery on your window, right? I mean, it's warm, but yet under the blanket, you still have a t-shirt, maybe your jeans or whatever you're wearing. And that could be what you would be similar, like what a hard window covering or a blind or shade would be. But draperies is that final piece that can go on the window that can really make it a warm window.
The other thing too, and unfortunately we're short on time, but I want to sort of expand a little bit, and perhaps I can, if I remember, next time we chat next month on this, Randy, we'll do this. But when we've been talking a lot about blinds and shades, obviously it's the first thing that comes to mind, and I brought up the draperies as sort of an overlooked thing, but there's some other products that Great Lakes Window Coverings does provide to go along with the window coverings as well. And I want to spend some more time talking about some of those products. And one of them that comes to mind, I'm looking on the web page, and if you can talk about this real quick, that'd be fine. What is this? Squid fabric. What is this squid fabric all about?
So squid fabric, what we've done is we've partnered with a company in Belgium, and we actually take two different types of fabric, a transparent and a opaque fabric, and we add adhesive to the fabric. And so that can actually literally glow right on glass and become a way to diffuse the light or add privacy to a window on a specialty shape or any type of window. So that is what squid is. And we ship it out every week. Somewhere in the country, we're shipping this product to some residential home somewhere or office environment. So it's becoming very popular.
Yeah, just the name though is kind of unusual. Squid fabric. Yeah. That's why we'll talk more about some of these things when we have our next conversation a month from now. If people need to get a hold of Randy Meppelink and the staff at Great Lakes Window Coverings, that can be able to customize window coverings for your home or for your business, and then they're not just residential people. The website is greatlakesblinds.com. That's greatlakesblinds.com. And the phone number for Randy Meppelink's Great Lakes Window Coverings is 616-786-4440. 616-786-4440. Randy, as always, thank you very much for your time, and wish you and everybody at Great Lakes Window Coverings well. We'll talk again next month.
Sounds good, Gary. Thank you very much. You take care now.
Thank you very much, Randy Meppelink, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.